Hello and welcome to another episode of the Beyond Enough podcast. I could not be more excited to introduce another fantastic guest today. And as you all know by now, this is the podcast where we speak to women who are choosing more for themselves and rewriting their story with intention. And oh my goodness, we have the most incredible guest today. So, Sarah, hello.
Hello. Oh, that was such an introduction. Hello. Hi, everyone. This is my first podcast, so I'm excited to be here, excited to be with you, Amy. So thank
Yay!
you for having me.
I absolutely love it. I love how I'm taking your podcast virginity. That's a very proud
Yeah.
moment for me.
Oh, I love that.
I absolutely love it. And I would love for you to just give a quick introduction and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're currently doing, and then we'll dive into the stories behind that. And I will tell everyone, just for the purpose of everyone listening to this episode, my 6-year-old daughter is in the house off school today. So if you hear anything in the background, it is her simply enjoying her drawing. So just a heads up.
So my name's Sarah. I am the founder of Sarah Hump Wellness. I'm a holistic therapist and coach. I specialize in intuitive coaching, helping people feel more confident, find that self-worth, reconnect with themselves, come home to themselves. I'm very much into this being your authentic self, because once you can connect to yourself and be your authentic self, everything just flows easier and you feel happier and you feel more aligned to the life that you want to create, which is what I've been doing. So that's been a part of my journey. So that's the coaching side. The holistic therapy side is energy healing. So I do this I'm a Dawson program corrective sounds practitioner. It's a bit of a mouthful,
We love a
but
mouthful.
essentially it's about bringing your electrical systems, bringing your life force energy back up so then you bring more balance back into your body. But it impacts so much. So it impacts your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your spiritual health. And it's a beautiful, deep healing modality. And it just clears all of that crap that your body's holding on to and storing that you don't know that's even there. And then it just gets released because the frequencies do the releasing. So it brings your body back into balance. Your body can heal itself. So I'm just facilitating. It is the most beautiful, beautiful healing modality, and I love it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is clearly why we connected, right, though, because so much of what I help women with is, again, authenticity. And I would love to deep dive into that with you in this conversation, because I think some people really struggle with that, who am I? Who am I authentically? And what does that look and feel like? And all of the energy work and the somatic healing, I think, has been such a massive part of my own journey to get to this point where, like you say, I've been able to discharge so much of those things that were really, really holding me down, actually probably for a lot of my life without me realizing it, right? So, I love it. I cannot wait to dive a bit more into that modality. I don't know if I could repeat it because it is a bit of a mouthful, but
The way I explain it to my clients, I've been saying, just tell people you can't explain it, but it's effing amazing
yes,
and you just love it.
I
So it's because it's really hard to explain unless you're kind of in that holistic therapy world and you understand about the different energy systems and the electrical systems and life force energy. Unless you know all of that, people just can't connect with it. It's just all my clients have to do is just lay there and relax. It's just
wait,
beautiful.
that's my favorite kind of
Yeah.
therapies.
Yeah.
I just get to lie there and enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah.
So obviously you're in the coaching industry as well as being a holistic therapist, but what led you there? What were the kind of pivotal moments in your life and your journey that really, because I think for every woman that starts a business, there has to be this huge desire to pass on what's transformed your life, what's helped you, because being in business is difficult. Like, it's hard. It's not the easy path, right? So I always know there's a story behind why you feel so called to help in this way and to do it as an entrepreneur.
Is she okay? Okay. I'll just wait till Amy's looked after.
Sorry, 2 seconds.
That's no, it's fine.
That one's for Kim. Can I have one now? Yeah. Can I have one like you did the other day where you all had all the sky coloured in and everything? Yeah?
Oh, bless.
Okay, sorry, Sarah, on you go.
No, that's fine. I totally get it. We've all been there. And I suppose this is part of the story, isn't it? It's being able to be authentic. This is you. This is your life.
Exactly.
This is, and that's what a lot of women are dealing with every day. They're juggling businesses, families, responsibilities, all of that. That's part of that.
100%. I love it.
Is she okay? Okay, so my story, I've been in the public service for all of my career, and that was kind of what I was doing. And I was spent a lot of the 15 years of it taking care of my family. So I worked part-time and I looked after them, and that was my priority, and I don't regret any of it. Then I started getting a bit niggly and I kept thinking there's something more, there's more to this. I need something else. I was that desire and craving something else. So then I started progressing in my career. The first time I got, but it was quite hard to just step it back a bit. It was quite hard to progress in my career when I've been working part-time for so long and the children had been my priority. And then I got offered some coaching. And that's where the spark of coaching changed my life. And that's why I wanted to become a coach. But that coaching unlocked something within me. It helped me work out how to overcome those barriers that I thought were stopping me from getting my promotion. So after that coaching, I got promoted very quickly. And within 3 years, I got 3 more promotions.
Wow.
So very quickly, pushed up the ladder. And I was in that cycle, progress, push, struggle, work hard, striving, working towards all of my next. And that's what I thought I was doing. I was on a trajectory. I thought I was just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up until I found myself on a women's development program. And I thought this was going to be the step to get me my next promotion. Because I was just in that mindset. Yeah. I was just in that mindset of just progress. And we sat there on the first day, the first module, and we had to do like this guided meditation. I've never done anything like that before. And to visualize our next job that we were going to be in. So it was very in that space. So I sat down and I visualized thinking what would be my next promotion. And I sat there and visualized the room I'm sitting in right now, which used to be my garage, as the room that I would be working in. Now, I didn't know where that came from. And I can quite honestly tell you, I was very, very annoyed with myself. I was like sitting there telling myself, no, that's not what I want. What I want is the next promotion. I want to see myself in a suit. I want to see myself as like a deputy director, a senior civil servant, that sort of thing. I wanted to see myself at that level. No, that's not what my higher self was telling me. That's what I wanted to do. And that kind of was a pivotal moment. And really the first time I connected with my higher self and my intuition guiding me. After that, I've been on I don't know how much, but that's the first step where I started changing what was meant for me and what I wanted to do with my career.
Girl, I got chills.
Yeah.
I got chills. Oh my goodness. Do you know what's so interesting about that is we all have expectations of who we think we should be, the trajectory that we're on, whether we're in a very, like a very structured corporate style, this is the next step, this is the next step on the ladder. But even as mums, right, like we have an expectation of the type of mum we feel we should be, the type of person we feel we should be, what our authentic self is. And actually, sometimes we need to step back and ask ourselves because the answers are there. And that's what I love about coaching. It's just lifting the veil on the answers that are already there. And that is so powerful. To think that you are in the room that you visualize
So this was about 6 years ago. So it's been a journey to get to this point, but it was finished this year and I'm sat in my room that I visualized right now. And it feels like I finally feel the biggest thing for me is to be able to sit here and talk to you and say that I connected with my higher self and I am doing energy healing and I'm a holistic therapist. I was too scared to reveal that side of myself. I was too afraid. I thought people would think I was a bit weird, but that's always been part of me, but it's been a part of me that I hid, but to protect it.
Yes.
Because I didn't feel safe to show it. But now here I am.
Yeah.
This is me.
Loud. Visible. We love it. Oh my goodness. Like, wow, chills. And like you say, it's a journey, right? And you've been in business or kind of around the same amount of time as me, and I've seen the highs and lows in my own life, in my own business, and the development that it's taken me to get to this point. And I know there'll be in another 7 years, there'll be a whole lot more to add to that story. But for you, moving, and as you said, you've touched on this, which so many women struggle with, is the fear of being judged for, you can open it, babe. The fear of being judged, the fear of being seen to be different or to be a bit woo-woo, and for people to reject us for those really intimate parts of us. But like you say, in order to be able to sit here and do that, you've been on a bit of a journey. So tell us a little bit about how that journey started, from when you had that moment of, actually, I'm not on the trajectory that my higher self is calling for, and moving towards getting where you are now, 7 years on, in the office of your dreams that you visualized that day.
So I kind of knew that day that it was coaching was that was what I needed. So I just started making, but as part of the course, we had to make a plan and a goal of how we were going to start that visualization. And I was really frustrated and angry. So I didn't feel good about it, because it felt like, well, I'm not even a coach, so how am I even supposed to get to that point? It just felt like it was just really hard. And I was like, how do I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how to even begin to get there. And all the other women were getting excited because they were at different levels, and I was I was at the start.
Yeah.
So I just started at the beginning, and I did manage to get onto a coaching course, and I did that first. So that was the step, just starting to develop my coaching skills, practice my coaching, feel more confident in it. And that was kind of how I started. But alongside that, outside of work, and because I was still in my full-time job then, I had a lot of stuff going on outside of work. So my stepdad passed away it was unexpected. And it was quite traumatic. It was not a very nice situation. And that triggered a lot of grief, a lot of negative emotion that then needed processing. And I had a choice. Do I process it, or do I keep it boxed up away and just bury it again? And that was the start of my healing journey, and healing the lifetime of not feeling enough, not feeling good enough, not feeling lovable, not feeling worthy. And that was the trigger of that really horrible, difficult situation. And that, in the middle of all that grief and negative emotion, and that's kind of what started the healing journey and just kept me going on the path. And then I had a hysterectomy a couple of years later.
Goodness.
That then pushed me further into, so that's kind of how I've ended up here. And that's how I ended up life coaching and going into self-love coaching. I felt really drawn to that, and that connecting to that authentic self, because I didn't feel safe to be my authentic self. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point. But that was one of my affirmations. I want to feel safe to be my authentic self. And I do now. I do feel safe to be her. And I feel like I've become her.
Yeah.
But that was a journey as well. And I didn't. There's lots of threads to this story. But another thread was, at the same time, I was writing lots of journals. I was writing how I was feeling. I was writing my emotions. And I have now written a book with all of that in. And at the time, it felt like my higher self, my younger self, and my future self were all trying to save me and pull me through and guide me through. And so, yeah, my book's finished. I'm here talking about energy work and about being your authentic self. And I'm sat in my room that I visualized 6 years ago. That wasn't even something that I even thought that I wanted to do, because I was going to be a high flying woman who was going to be a career woman. And so I've had to learn a lot to get to this point.
Sarah, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing so openly. And I think in itself, bereavement and grief is something that, to say it takes the wind out your sails is an understatement, right? And is there any such thing as an easy bereavement? There isn't, right? Like, it's awful, and it's one of those parts of life that just never gets easier. You know, you don't get used to it. It doesn't become something you get better at with practice. It is so heartbreaking on so many levels. And then to go through a hysterectomy and to have so many challenges. And what I love about what you've told us so far about your story is how much joy and how much power, personal power for you, has been born from these moments of real struggle. And of course, no one wants to go through hard times, right? No one wants to suffer bereavement. No one wants to go through serious medical procedures. Nobody wants to, have difficulties at work. But out of those moments, your authentic self is born, right? Your confidence is forged in fire. And so before I moved into coaching visibility, I coached confidence. And I used to say to my clients, your confidence isn't forged sitting on your sofa watching Netflix. We'd love that. Like, that would be great. That's not how it works. It's forged in the fire, because that is where you find your worth. That is where you find your power. And that's all confidence is: self-trust and the ability to say, no matter what I do, I trust myself to follow through. I trust myself to be myself, and everything else will work out. And that is confidence, in my opinion, anyway.
And that's what I love to work with my clients on, because a lot of the coaching clients I work with, they struggle with, I'm not adding any value. Like the corporate clients, I'm not adding any value to my role or to my team. Where's my value add? What's my mission? And the thing that upsets me the most is when women say, I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
So there's something wrong with me. I'm not classed as confident because I'm an introvert. And I've heard that quite a few times. And I love it when I work with them and I encourage them to see that their introvertness is their strength and their superpower. And it's just teaching and helping them figure out how they can leverage that.
Yes.
So they can leverage what makes them unique so they feel confident to be themselves.
Yes.
Rather than them thinking that there's something wrong with them because they're not naturally extrovert and they need time to reflect and think in a meeting rather than being able to speak quickly and give their opinion quickly. They need time to think and reflect. You need all of those strengths, and it's just helping. It's so important with that confidence. It's finding out what your strengths are so you can then trust in those.
Yes.
And then once you trust in your own strengths and your own abilities, then you will become naturally confident.
That's so true, though. And I'm not sure I believe fully in the whole introvert extrovert thing. I think we all take energy in different ways and refuel our energy in different ways. However, bless you, we can all be introverted and we can all be extroverted, and it's knowing where to put your energy. It's knowing when to be extroverted.
Love that.
Yeah, it's knowing when to bring it, right? You don't have to bring it all the time. Bring it knowing, and like you say, it's a skill. It's a skill to be able to say, I know about this topic. I'm going to choose to put my energy into being more extroverted in this moment, in this particular meeting, rather than all my meetings, because it doesn't come naturally. And I'm not, to do it in every meeting would expend all of my energy. But learning how and when to show up with your voice, with that confidence, and knowing that the rest of the time it's fine to be introverted and it's fine not to be pushing, in center of attention. Totally fine. Cool. Knowing when to bring it is the skill, in my opinion, as a visibility coach, right?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And feeling safe to do that. It's that you've got to feel safe in your body, but only you can bring that feeling of safety to your body.
It's an inward thing. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
I was speaking to another coach recently about this. And so actually the podcast episode that goes out today, and we were talking about, if you're struggling with that, like if you're struggling to feel safe to be your authentic self, find a community in which you feel safe. Because once you start to use your voice and once you start to be authentic and you don't get backlash and you don't get judgment and you don't get, you don't have that kind of immediate response that is negative, it can really fuel your confidence to go and do that and more outwardly, publicly, whatever. But like I say, it's that confidence is forged in fire. Like you have to physically put yourself out there in order to build the confidence. But sometimes it is about finding a bit of a community where that feels safe initially so that you can practice.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's kind of how I started. So it was the life coaching community that I joined to do my life coach training and to talk. It felt so freeing to just talk about law of attraction and energy, because these women were all talking about that. And I was like, there's other people that think like me. I was like, yes, there are. Wow, this is amazing. And it was like the first time, because I had really struggled with connecting with people. But I did, because I wasn't showing up as myself, because I wore all these different masks, because I didn't know who I was. I had no idea who I was at all. So I struggled to connect with people, and I never really felt like I fitted in
Yes.
because I was wearing the mask. So it wasn't until I was joined that community and I was able to start talking about the things that I was really interested in, that I was too scared to say to people that weren't part of that community. And it was just having those
Yeah.
conversations and building up those relationships and building, and that helped me feel more confident.
Yes. I'm addicted to it now. I
Yeah.
don't know about you. You can share your opinion here, but once you step into feeling safe in, like you say, in your body, in your mind, energetically removing those authenticity blocks, and you start to be able to do that outwardly into the world on social media, on other forms of media, and then you start to connect with other, like you say, other women especially, who are just on your wavelength. It's addictive. It is so addictive. I love it. I absolutely love it now. And I think, God, I've spent so much of my life missing out on the most incredible conversations, the most incredible clients, the most incredible connections, and other women in business who have other visions and collaborations and all these things. I want you, honestly, and I will never stop saying this.
No, I think it's amazing.
It is amazing. So let's talk about authenticity for a moment, and for all our women that are listening who know that they want to be authentic, who know that they want to live their life that way. And whether or not it's energy healing or something that's a bit more, let's say, woo woo, people still think it's a bit woo woo to work on your mindset, to work on your energy, to do more holistic therapy. Sometimes there are lots of people that do not think that that is abnormal. But like you say, there's a lot of women, I think, still stuck in that I'm going to get judged for having crystals or whatever it may be. So what for you do you think were those key things to finding your authentic self and removing those blocks to outwardly
I
being
think
able to be authentic and feel safe to be authentic?
I think the first thing I did, and the first thing anyone, is work out what feels good to
Mm,
you. You've got to find out who you are first. And for me, I struggled a lot with the way I looked and my appearance. And I used to go through spent a very long, most of my life, yo-yo dieting. So I would restrict what I would eat a lot. And then I would comfort eat, and then I would binge. And then I would go on these cycles of being tiny. And then I would gain a little bit. And then the cycle would
yeah.
continue. And after my hysterectomy, I made a decision. I just want to just feel good about myself. And that was how I started. It was like, what feels good to me and what do I like to do? And I like to exercise, but I wanted to do it not because I wanted to reach a weight goal. I wanted to do it because it helped me feel good and it helped me with my mindset. So that was how I started. So I would just recommend, just find anything that you enjoy doing. Or if you don't know what you enjoy doing, experiment, try different things, and then just keep, and then that momentum will build, and then you'll get addicted to that. Oh, I feel good doing that, so I want to try and
Yes.
do something new like this. And then once you work out what you like to do, then you can build on that. Because if you don't know what you like to do, how can then you show that confidence and that empowered version of yourself to people if you're not feeling that inside, if you're not doing things all day every day that light you up and make you feel good? But you've got to find out what makes you feel good
Totally.
first. And that's the fun bit. Okay, what makes me feel good? So my mornings are filled up with, I go for a run I'm an early bird. I like to get up early in the morning, and I go for a run across the fields, and that makes me feel good. But then I give my favourite tree a bit of a hug, and we have a bit of a
Oh,
chat, and I might chat to the birds on the way round. And that makes me feel good. But it took me a long time to figure that out. And I tried lots of different things, and I tried meditation, and I tried grounding, and so lots of woo woo things, because that's what makes me
I
feel good.
love the
But I
woo.
know, but people, it's reading and spending time with your friends.
Yes.
Is she okay?
Yeah, she's okay.
Spending time with your loved ones,
Yes.
or with your pets, or taking your pets for, your dog for a walk. But it's making time for the things that you love to do first.
Yes.
Connect back to you.
Yes. And the flip side of that, of course, is letting go of things that don't light you up. And I feel like this is probably the harder part, because I think a lot of women struggle to let go of things that either they feel like they should still love and struggle to let go because it's maybe part of their identity. Maybe it's something close, like people who are close to them really enjoy. Habits that are maybe being picked up for the family and they feel like maybe I can't let go of that. And it's because it is tied up in identity, right? And it's tied up in fear of what will people think of me and what will happen if I let this thing go. And it's such a cycle of comfort at that point. But actually letting go of the things that don't serve you and knowing that you deserve to be spending more time on the things that do light you up, I think is really important here too.
The two go hand in
Totally.
hand massively. And it's about setting boundaries for yourself.
Yes.
And it comes back to that safety thing again. You've got to feel safe to be able to set those
Yes.
boundaries for yourself. But again, you don't have to go from, because I was like the ultimate people pleaser.
Same.
Because my identity was tied up in all of that. Because I didn't know who I was. So you can't unravel this all at once. It's like a gentle unfolding, but it comes down to you're making a choice. So in those moments, what are you choosing? And giving yourself permission. Okay, what am I choosing right now? And giving your self permission to choose that.
Oh, I got chills.
Because you can't do it all at once, and that's sometimes it seems too scary. Oh, I can't say no all the time. Well, maybe just say not right now, or I can't do it this time, but I'll come next time, or
It's baby steps.
maybe trying to have baby steps and giving yourself permission to have babies. So it's all about giving yourself permission, empowering yourself. I'm giving myself permission, and I'm giving myself permission to choose.
Yes. I've got chills. I love it so much. I'd love for you to share, before we move on, one thing that you let go of in order to step into this authentic version of you. For me, I've let go of a lot, but I think one of the major things that I really struggled to let go of, which changed my life, was letting go of people cause I'm a very loyal person, like to a fault. And I found it really difficult to let go of relationships that really did not serve me, that were very toxic in some circumstances. And honestly, letting go of people from my life has made room for the most incredible people to come in. So that's my big thing. What about you? What have you had to let go of?
I had to let go of who I was. I literally had to let go of the old version of myself, and that there was, I suppose, a bit of grief wrapped around in that.
Yeah.
Is because that's I'm 45 this year, so it's like I had to say goodbye to that version of me that struggled, that
Yes.
carried all that sadness and that shame and that all of those limiting beliefs that were part of my identity. And I had to say goodbye to that person. And it was a lot of internal going deep and facing those shadows. It sounds cliche, but I literally had to come face to face with them and say, you know what, you are part of who I am, and kind of accepting them and embracing them. And so I had to let go of who I was.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I've got chills again. You're giving me all the feels. I think there's so many similarities between us.
And
and it just goes to show though that there are so many other women who are not at this point yet, but there is so much hope. And it's healing, like you said earlier, like it's a journey and it's ugly and it's hard and there's shadows and there's stuff you're gonna have to face that, believe me, you don't want to face it. But on the other side, oh my gosh, it is just, imagine being able to step into being an entirely new person. And something you touched on there, which I would love to discuss, is this idea of struggle. Because and this is why I think it hits me so hard, a previous version of me, I just identified as someone who struggled. So even when something great came along, I struggled through it because I believed that I was a person who had to struggle. I had to struggle to make money. I had to struggle to build my career. I had to struggle to build a business. I had to struggle to, struggle through motherhood. And I had that so ingrained. But I think a lot of our struggle is in our head, right? Like you said, tied up in our identity. And how much do you feel that is a part of what keeps us stuck in those early stages, is just that feeling of, I don't deserve to feel good about life. I am someone who just has to struggle through. And that thread of energy and limiting belief. What do you think?
Yeah, it's that inner critic
Yeah.
that that those limiting beliefs that you don't even know that are
Mhm.
there, that are controlling all the decisions you make and all of the things that you think about yourself and the way you feel about yourself. And then you've got that inner critic and that negative self-talk that's just enhancing that and amplifying it. And you know, my my struggle was I just didn't feel like I was good enough.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel loved. I just felt just this innate
Yeah.
unlovableness, even though it was all inside of me, but that showed up in how I felt. So I just carried that feeling
Yeah.
around with me, but I didn't even know that I was doing it. Um, okay. What was the
Oh, no,
question? I've kind of gone off into
no,
all of that.
it's
I just
fine.
got a great.
Listen, this is the podcast where we can just go off on tangents, and it's absolutely fine. And I love that. Do you know, I remember when I first experienced coaching for the very first time, and I had quite a successful business in network marketing at the time, and I wanted to take it a bit more online because I was having another baby, and I was like, okay, cool. This woman's going to show me how to just make money online. That's not what I got. And I remember the first time she asked me, when was the last time you felt worthy of having success, having good things, being happy? And I wept from my soul that day when I realized, because I hadn't realized that I had never felt good enough for anything ever in my life. And that was the pivotal moment for me of all of this. But as you say, we don't even know it's there half the time. And I think I love coaching for that. I think coaching has taken off as an industry for a reason. Finding your own answers, finding your own authentic self requires you to be self-reflective and to stop chasing other people's solutions, cookie cutter strategies, and all this stuff that, yeah, it might work for one person, but until you get self-reflective, will never change and transform your life the way that coaching can, or doing this reflective healing work will.
That is what I love about coaching. It's you're giving yourself permission. It's all to have time to think out loud.
Yes.
And there isn't anything so powerful than being asked a question and saying what your internal thoughts are saying, but out loud. And when you hear them out loud and you go, oh,
Yeah.
that doesn't really make sense, does it? And I love holding that space. I'm very much a coach that holds space, and I don't tell people what to do. I just hold that space for them to find themselves in that moment. And that's what I love about coaching. But the bit of about the coaching industry that I struggle with is people are chasing that cookie cutter
Yeah.
approach because it seems
Yeah.
easier.
I agree. I mean, if you've ever hung around my socials, you know that I'm very anti-cookie cutter, and you see a lot of it. But I always encourage everyone I work with, everyone that I come into contact with, that the more authentic they can be, the more they'll cut through all the noise. I think a big part of this podcast for me is getting this information into people who would not otherwise have it, who maybe see all of the kind of really flashy marketing, cookie cutter stuff and have this impression of the coaching industry from that, and actually bring out these real authentic women who are there. They are there. They are waiting for you to say yes to yourself. They are waiting to give you premium, high quality, life transforming coaching that is not you sitting on a webinar from 5 years ago that's cost you 500 quid, to which you'll never take action off the back of. And you're right. It is hard to cut through that noise sometimes, but I think the more we bring conversations like yours and stories like yours, Sarah, the more we demonstrate the absolute powerhouse women.
Yeah, and there's lots.
Yes.
There's lots. We've all got a story,
Yes.
and we've all got something worth hearing. We've all got a story worth hearing. And that's what, going back to that connection and that community. It's creating that opportunity, not that community and that connection for us all to feel safe, to be able to be ourselves, and to say, so I'm craving a more softer, easier kind of life, and that's what I'm craving right now, what I'm working towards, because I don't want to be in that struggle effort all the time. You know, a bit of the story I haven't said, I have had burnout and I've experienced that and that anxiety. So I'm very much, I want to feel, but giving ourselves permission to say that out loud, you know? So everybody has their own goals, and it goes back to the coaching. What are your goals? What do you want to achieve? What does your dream life look like? And then actually believe that that is achievable and that you can work towards that and that you are worthy of that too.
Yes. If I had like a billboard, right? Like that just everybody in the world, every woman in the world would see, it would say, you are worthy and you deserve to feel good about yourself and your life. Because I didn't know that.
No, neither did I.
It blows my mind. It still blows my mind. Sometimes I'm like, dang, girl, you spent your whole life.
Because we're not taught to. We're taught to work hard, and we're taught to, the more effort you put in, go work hard, struggle, effort. This is take on everything.
Yes.
I was just absorbing everybody's emotions. I was just taking it all in and holding it for them. I didn't know how to let all of that go. And it's not a case of not loving them. It's just loving yourself enough to just, you don't need to hold it all for them. You can still be there for people and love them, but not hold that. I saw a post this morning. It's about self-love. It's about being able to transmute other people's emotions and releasing it, not holding, not absorbing it.
We're not responsible for everyone else all of the time. I think that's a massive thing for women. We're not responsible for everyone all of the time. You're not. You're just not. You're responsible for you. And yes, if you've got small children, yeah, absolutely. They rely on you to live. However, we're not responsible for everybody's emotions, not responsible for how everybody else feels all the time. And the pressure of that is crushing to women because we just want everyone to be good and we want to help. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a nurturing person. And
that's our nature, but it's also important to show yourself that same love and nurture. And, you know, it's important to just give yourself that time too, and give yourself that grace too. And some of the things we say to ourselves, some of those awful things our inner critic says, it can be the most horriblest bully.
Oh, yes.
But we would never say that out loud to someone we loved. So why do we say it to ourselves?
Yeah. And you touched on this as well. So much of our worth is tied up in our appearance, in how hardworking we are, and all of these other vanity metrics that have taken away from our ability to just know that we are inherently worthy and that actually we don't need to achieve anything in order to be deserving and worthy of feeling good, of being happy, of feeling confident, of nice things, of time for ourselves. Like, none of these things are dependent on anything, actually.
No, you are worthy.
100%.
There's no conditions to that.
Full stop.
There's no conditions.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sarah. This has just been such an incredible conversation. And I feel like we haven't even touched on your modalities, but I will link everything, all of you, below in the show notes.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
I love it. I just love it so much. And it's helped me so much. Just quick, I know I've touched on the anxiety, but it wasn't until I was doing some of that energy healing that helped release my anxiety. So it's really changed my life profoundly. So it's helped me on that energetic level. So that's why I love it so much. So yeah, I just love it.
It's incredible. And for some, energy work still seems a little bit on the cusp, shall we say.
Yeah, and I get that. And I probably was the same until I started experiencing it. So I get it totally.
It's so effective though. I know the most transformational work that I've ever done has been the energy work, the somatic healing, like healing on a somatic level and discharging emotion, and so much that I held on to. Like we were speaking about the previous identity, the struggle identity, really finally letting go of that required me to do a little bit more than mindset work. And
yeah, it goes a bit deeper.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's harder, like you say, it's harder to explain. But sometimes we don't need all the answers. Like sometimes we don't need a breakdown of how something works. Just try it. Like give it a go.
So literally something really simple that anyone that's listening could do today. Either go and just go barefoot on the grass, just connect with the grass, even just for 5 minutes, or I recommend going to hug a tree. And I know that sounds a bit woo-woo, but you can do it. Go find somewhere that no one's looking and just ask it, what do I need to know today.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love do that. So I've got so many pictures of my mum hugging trees. Like it's no surprise to me that I've ended up in an industry where things are a little bit more woo woo and a little bit more, I don't even know, spiritual, right? Because my mum wouldn't say she's a spiritual woman, but she is what I would describe as like a hippie, right? Like,
Yeah.
in the 80s, she was, I mean, I don't think she was, but she's a stereotypical hippie, loves plants, very much, let's save the planet and be kind to our fellow brothers and sisters across the globe. Like, that's my mother. And she is a big tree hugger. She loves it. And so I think I'm going to join her in a tree hugging session and ask the tree.
Yep. What do I need to know
What
today?
do I need to know today? I love that, Sarah.
Yeah. It's something anyone can do. It's just that connection. It's just that connecting with nature. Mother Nature is so healing.
Oh my gosh.
Do
you not think as well?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a hiker and I think nature in itself does such a good job of widening your perspective. And I think when we're stuck in a closed mindset and when we're stuck with all these issues that we're describing, with the fear, the anxiety, not really knowing what's wrong, but knowing something is wrong, things don't feel right, being in nature does the thing that coaching does, which is widen your perspective and take you out of this very small, tight, constricted place and zooms things out so that you can actually have a look and identify, okay, this is what's wrong. This is what's missing. This is how I'm feeling. And nature does a really good job of that. And there's nothing for me like standing on the top of a Munro where I feel like at the same time, like I've conquered the world and also so small and insignificant. And it does something. It does something to my heart and soul and my spirit, right?
I love that.
Yeah. Nature. Get out in nature. If you take anything from this conversation, go and hug a tree. Ask it what you need.
Yeah.
Like, I love that, Sarah. Honestly.
I do it now and I don't even care if somebody's walking past anymore. I'm like,
yeah.
Have
you hugged a tree today?
I've got to say, yeah, that's the thing. You don't know what you're missing.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it. I expect to see a post on your social media of you hugging a tree. I love it. Oh my goodness. This has been such a fantastic conversation. Thank you for showing up here so authentically and so vulnerably, sharing what's helped you on your journey. And I know that so many women will take so much from this conversation and from your own personal journey. And as I said, I will link all of your information so that women can come and have a look at how you can help them through all of these things and more, and start to not just feel worthy and deserving, but also start to shift some of that existing identity and energy that, do you know what, you don't need it anymore. It's safe to move forward.
Oh, I appreciate that. And I thank you so much for having me. I've loved it. I've loved this conversation. This is what it's all about, isn't it? Having these really amazing conversations and connections. So yeah, thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I feel very blessed that I popped your cherry, and thank you to everyone listening, and we will see you in the next one.